Two halves. Steve, that's two halves as in football. That's my first Gaggage dive. And just take Micky through his career, mainly with Spurs, and then a little bit about Chelsea.
I refuse to talk.
9 games at Portsmouth, I believe.
I still refuse to talk, sorry. I only need to talk about Spurs.
And a few at Swindon. And then we will have a break, and then in the second half there's a bit of a quiz which we can all have a go at, and then some questions and answers. So, to start off, Micky, you were born in 1960 in Sunderland.
You know, a little town 300 miles away from the city of London. Somehow I've ended up down here playing. Now, if you look back to my era, when I was a kid, the rules regarding youngsters weren't what they are today. You know, you couldn't go into sign for a professional football club outside of an hour from where you lived until the age of 14. So that gave the local clubs every opportunity to get you signed for them. And obviously Sunderland being sort of flitting in and out of the old Division 1 and Division 2, so up, down every year. So they were obviously chasing me big time. But Compère, I don't know, can you all remember Terry Nee? Terry Nee, who was once the Spurs manager? Well, his assistant manager was a guy called Will Dixon. And he was born and bred in Sunderland. He lived actually about a mile from where I lived. I never knew him, but he lived sort of a mile from where I was sort of brought up. And he set up a little scouting network in Sunderland. It was only a very small one. I think it consisted of one man, who was a good friend of his, but he was a really hard worker. And from about the age of sort of 10 to 11, this guy sort of came to watch me play. And somehow I impressed him, and this is not one word of a lie, he attended from the age of sort of 10 and a half through to the age of 14, every single game I ever played for my school, for my town and for my county. He never missed one single game, which was an incredible commitment. But not only did he turn up at the game, he came and watched with my dad. So my dad wouldn't miss a game neither, but he would come and stand next to my dad. And he would tell my dad who he was and what job he did, and he worked for Spurs. And after about a year, maybe 15 months, he actually started to invite me and my dad round to his house for Sunday dinner. But just before we had dinner, he would actually, because he was a coach. No, but I had quite a lot of clubs in England chasing me. So he made it his sole goal in his life to actually get me signed for Spurs. So at the age of 14, when I could sign, he'd organised for me to come down to London with my dad, paid for by Tottenham, put in a nice hotel, paid all food and drink and everything paid for, travel expenses. Plus, they always, every time we came down, they used to give my dad an extra couple of £100 expenses. You know, like we want your son. So my dad used to want to come. Yeah, in cash. My dad used to want to come down every week. I could only come in school holidays, but my dad said, but I can come down still. You know, it was quite a lot of money in those days, and my dad was unemployed, sort of in and out of work. So every time we came to London, my dad would take the week off, and we'd be in a lovely hotel getting food and drink, and my dad would get everything bought and paid for, and then on the way home he'd get £200 cash put in his hand to go home with. It was quite a lot of money in those days to us, so it was, so that was basically how I came to, and that sort of carried on through to the age of 16, when I had to make the decision to sign White Hart for whichever club, and obviously the work, the effort that this guy called Compère had put in meant that it was guaranteed my signature. You know, Sunderland, for instance, they offered me money to sign, they offered me a trade. You know, in those days when you got a brown paper bag and there was money put in it, but we wouldn't accept. My dad said no. He said, you know, Spurs, they promised me YTS at the age of 14, and eventually I signed for Spurs and came down full time at 16, and that's when my problems began.
So you were 16, signed for Spurs. What other players did you encounter at 16? So presumably you didn't train with the first team, you were with the youth team at 16?
Yeah.
Can you remember some of those players?
Yeah, no, I can, but first of all I came down at 14, coming down at 14, as I said, they were desperate to get me to sign, so I trained with the first team. Can you imagine this, a 14-year-old young boy, very, very shy, travelling down to a big First Division football club that I'd only ever seen on TV, and then walking into the ground and being introduced to the great Bill Nicholson. Terry Neal was the manager at the time, and then going training and being called over from training with the schoolboys to be training with Glenn Hoddle and Steve Perryman and Keith Osgood and Terry Naylor and all these players that I'd only seen on TV. I can. Before I do, I've got to tell you first and foremost that as a young boy, I was an incredible mummy's boy. I don't apologise for that because I love my mummy so much. I love coming home at the end of the night or from football and I'd just lie down with my head on a belly and just lie there all night long. So when I got my first ever salary, and to compare it with Neymar just signed a contract and he's on something like £500,000 a week. That's nothing to what I was earning. I was earning £14 a week. And religiously, and without fail, every Thursday was payday. And we got a little brown envelope with the £14 cash in the envelope. And religiously, and without fail, every single week, for the first 2 years of me getting paid, I used to go straight to the post office, buy an envelope and send £5 home to my mum. Now that left me with £9 a week to live on. Yeah, no, I mean, again, I was 18, 1978. I got signed on a professional contract just before my 18th birthday. I was on £40 a week, fantastically rich.
£39.50 left every week.
Yeah, exactly. And then, sort of from having these dreams of getting close, you know, when you get signed professionally, you suddenly start to think that I'm on the verge of getting into the first team. It doesn't necessarily follow suit, but that's how you think.
The day before, on the morning of the match, how you felt, and just that day in general, when you made your full debut.
Well, it's really interesting because obviously I was getting closer and closer. I was playing well in the reserves, playing well in the practice matches. You know, when they first did a friendly, I was doing okay in there. The week previous, we're playing Manchester United at Old Trafford. Keith calls me into his office. Micky, you're playing. This is on the Thursday before training. And we go into, the Friday. So we go to the gym to train, but I'm on cloud nine. I'm playing against Man United at Old Trafford. And in the gym, I don't know if any of you ever saw the gym. It was really hard floor, and so I'm running around in the gym training, and I finish, and I get a big blister on my foot, on my big toe. And rather than go and see the physio, which normal clever people do, I decided to pop the blister myself. So I popped this blister, squeezed all the blood out, and went home. Next day I woke up, my foot was like this, turned septic. So all the Saturday morning I'm sitting with my foot in a bucket of boiling hot water to try and got ruled out. I couldn't play. Fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, they lost 4-0. So I sometimes imagine that if I'd gone there and played, and we lost 4-0, maybe I might never have got another opportunity. So somebody was looking after me. I didn't play, they lost 1-0, and it sort of guaranteed me the place the following week against Everton. Now on a Friday, King put me in. I sort of had a rough idea because all week, first team, very reserves, I was sort of in the first team. So I was sort of rough idea. But then he called me in, he said, you're starting tomorrow. So it's hard to explain the excitement. And it's not so much excitement for you. You know, I remember running out of White Hart Lane. I don't know why I ran out of White Hart Lane, I really don't, because there's loads of phones in the lane. But I ran out of White Hart Lane, ran down Tottenham Road, found the nearest phone box and rang my mum. To say my mum was excited, I couldn't hold the phone next to my ear. She was shouting and screaming that much. I've got 4 sisters and 2 brothers and my dad, and every one of them was running around the house shouting and screaming with excitement. So the pride that you feel, the excitement that you feel is sort of more about you're making your parents happy, you make your brothers and sisters proud, and you feel every emotion that they have over you being selected. And then on the day of the game, obviously it's too far, they can't travel down. But I'm sitting in the dressing room before the game and I'm getting changed. And I look there and it's Hoddle. And I look there and it's Ossie Ardiles. And all I can think of is, shit, what do they need me for? You've got 2 players this good, you don't need me as well. I played the game the same way as they played it, with flair and creativity. And as a young boy, you know, you're sitting between 2 superstars. It's a bit overpowering, but also you realise, wow. But in a strange way, it gave me such confidence to know that, well, hang on, they don't need me, so I can have a stinker. We still don't win the game. Graham Roberts, we had big card school, we used to play 3-card brag. When we play it till 2, 3 in the morning, so staying in a hotel wasn't the best idea. So in the morning of the game, obviously we were doing interviews. Some of the boys couldn't sleep. You know, Tony Gallen, for instance, got up at 5 in the morning, staying in a hotel called the Ponsbourne Hotel. Lots of land with it. Tony Gallen could be seen walking around the hotel, all the grasses and gardens of the hotel at 5 o'clock in the morning, couldn't sleep. And then of course, on the morning of the game you are TV interviews, radio interviews, press interviews, boot contracts. You sort out boot contract. At the time I was sponsored by Asics Tiger, which had just expired. And Adidas approached me about wearing their boots in the cup final. And obviously paid quite a lot of money to do that. But I didn't like Adidas boots. I loved Asics Tiger, they seemed to fit to my foot like a glove. So the thought of wearing Adidas was a no-no, but the thought of getting all the money was very nice. So what I did was I took all the stripes of my Asics off and I painted white stripes on the Asics boots. So I had 3 Adidas stripes coming down. So I got paid off Adidas for wearing them. And I had painted the 3 stripes on, but wore Asics boots. And quite a number of the players did the same thing. I shouldn't be saying this really, it's just fraud. But Adidas thought that I was wearing their boots in the final. I hope this is not out on Facebook. So yeah, I wore Adidas. It's like incredible, and then you're suited and booted in your club suit with your club tie. You're as proud can be. You walk down the tunnel, out onto the pitch, and you sort of, you know, I don't really want to tell you this, but as players we got 110 tickets for the finals. 110 tickets, which is quite incredible, and when I look back I think, wow, when did we ever get that many tickets? Today's team only get 10 if they're in the cup final. We got 110 tickets, so of course...
How many did you sell?
No. Have you seen my family? I had all my family answer, but everyone was there. It's rare that they got the opportunity to come and see me play because of the distance involved. But for the cup final, obviously they made an exception. They were there. But can you imagine? I don't know. Each and every one of us, one of the nicest things in life as a son or a daughter is to make your parents proud. And walking out at Wembley and looking up into the stands and seeing your mum and dad sitting in the stands, your brothers, your sisters. I can't think of a more proud moment in my life other than when my children were born. And of course, when I met my wife over here.
So into the draw, all back to Wembley.
Another cup with Chelsea, and also I was selected for the Division 1 team, EFA Team of the Year, 3 years running. And I had up that basically I was selected for the full England team. All my honours I don't have anymore, I'm afraid. I gave them all away. Why? Well, you know what? I've got the memory, and I don't think there's anything that can ever replace the memory of what you've achieved. I don't need a little medal to say to me that I did it, I did it. And these medals, you know, I'm sure if I gave them to one of you, you would all love it so much more than I loved them, because of what they would mean to you. See, to me, it was taking part in those magical occasions. That is what meant to me. That was what it was about. It wasn't whether I got or I didn't get a medal. It was the fact that I was there achieving my schoolboy dreams. So they meant, those memories, you know, they're as fresh today as they were then, they'll be as fresh tomorrow as they were then. They will live forevermore. And I gave every medal to the club dentist, and he has them on display. And I think that it's sort of reassuring to know that someone else is benefiting from something that I achieved, but not benefiting in a financial way, benefiting in a proud way of, I own these medals. You know, these are official, proper winners' medals, and I put them on display in my dentistry. And not just my medals, my shirts, all the shirts that I wore, they all went 2 in 2. And I don't think I could have chosen anyone to look after my memories with such pride. I think he wears them as proud as I am at the memories. So it's a great feeling to know that someone else is getting equal pride and enjoyment out of something that I achieved.
2 seasons later, we are back in another final, the 1984 UEFA Cup final. Drew away, 2 legs.
To be honest with you, we went to Anderlecht. We had an incredible amount of injuries, and I touched on it earlier that a lot of the youth team from when I was a kid played in the UEFA Cup final due to the fact that we had so many injuries. We went to Anderlecht. We were a very, very powerful team. I've got to be honest, we didn't come home that night having won 4-0. I do not know. We were absolutely sensational. We went 1-0 up, comfortably could have won, and then ironically, Tony Parks made a slip right on the full whistle to let them equalise. But even worse, our captain, having already had an horrendous injury list, which forced our captain, Steve Berman, to play in the centre of midfield with me. He got booked, which ruled him out of the return leg, so we had no Hoddle, no Ardiles, no Crooks, no Clements, we had so many players. It was incredible. And then, of course, to lose your captain as well was a horrendous lose. But very confident mainly because Lane. It was fated that we won the UEFA Cup this season. You have to remember the UEFA Cup was the most difficult trophy of all to win. You know, you look back, the European Cup was just the team that finished first entered the European Cup, but the team that finished second, third, fourth and fifth, they all entered the UEFA Cup. So it became an incredibly difficult trophy, and to let you know how difficult it is to win, during the course of our times playing in these cups, we played Real Madrid, we played Barcelona, we played Bayern Munich, and it just so happened that season, when we won the UEFA Cup in '84, we knocked Bayern Munich out. No, we didn't lose 10-2 like Arsenal, we beat them 2-0, and we went through. So it was an incredibly tough trophy to win. We get them back to White Hart Lane. It's Keith Berkshaw's last game. It's, I don't know, how often in life you get the opportunity to fulfill a dream in front of your own fans on your own stadium. You know, if you look World Cups, England won the World Cup in '66. In England, Argentina in '78 won the World Cup. I think Germany won it as well. In Germany, it's on a rare occasion that you get an opportunity to play on your own patch in front of your 40,000 of your own fans in a massive European trophy. And we were playing at the Lane. On the most,
it might be more than 40,000.
Yeah, I'm sure there was about 50,000 on the night, and if you'd imagine leaving the Ponsbourne Hotel, which was in Cuffley, and trying to get to the game. Now remember, we used to get to White Hart Lane for a 7:30 kickoff. We'd be sort of arriving at White Hart Lane at about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Trying to get down Tottenham High Road in your car was like, wow. It was just gridlocked. It was blue and white everywhere. It was the air of expectancy was in the air. Everybody expected victory. I'm sure everybody was tense and nervous as well. But it was just written in the stars, you know. The most asked question that I've ever had about the cup final, UEFA Cup final, is: did you think when you went 1-0 down you were going to win? I did. I thought we were going to win. There wasn't 1 second when I didn't think I wasn't winning that game, and it wasn't because I thought we were that much better than them. As I said, we had a very young team out, a very inexperienced team, but I felt fate was rearing its good head. Keith's last game, 40,000 Spurs fans cheering us on. I felt it was fated, and there was only one end product as far as I was concerned, and thankfully we got the equaliser and then did it on penalties. It was absolutely the most wow evening. Wow.
Just on the penalty.
He's like a sweeper too. Ray Clements is probably one of the most decorated keepers there's ever been. He's won 3 European Cups. I think he's won 4 championships, FA Cups, with won trophies with both Spurs and Liverpool. I've got to say that in years to come Hugo Lloris might pip him, but at this moment in time, I think Ray Clements is a better goalkeeper. By the end of the season, I think he sort of made the position his own. Unlucky this season so far, he got a bit of a bad injury which has sort of hindered his development and maybe his fitness levels during the course of this season so far, which is a shame because unfortunately there's not. You get judged very harshly in modern day football. You know, we've signed a superb player in Orion, which might then now cost Trippier. So, but you know, he's up against Steve Perryman, the most appearances ever for any footballer to play for Spurs. I think it's somewhere in the region of 900, which is phenomenal. For me, the greatest captain that some will argue and say Dave Mackay. I will say Steve Perryman was the greatest captain that I ever played under and possibly that I've ever seen. So I'd have to go with Perryman on this one, I'm afraid.
Roberts or Yanderton?
I would say the most difficult of all. Two incredibly good footballers. Jan, I think he's absolutely brilliant. Not only is he brilliant, he works perfectly alongside Toby. Robbo, UEFA Cup winning captain, leader, winner, quality footballer as well. Absolutely superb footballer. I'd give Jan a 9 out of 10. But I think I've got to go with Graham Robertson. And I think Jan's top draw. Paul Miller, Toby all the way. Paul Miller, very good player, scored in the UEFA Cup final, away leg, very clever defender, but very nasty too. Toby all the way, absolutely different class. For me, the best defender in Europe, Toby all the way. Without a doubt.
Is that a call for you people?
Number 6,
Micky Hazard. Or Victor Wanyama.
Okay, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. Victor Wanyama, tremendous footballer, great signing, did us proud last season, absolute monster, physically, wins the ball, good defensive midfielder. Micky Hazard, probably the best player I've ever seen. In fact, he's probably next to Lionel Messi.
A big copy.
An arrogant bastard as well. No, I'd have to go with Micky Hazard, sorry. Hopefully we'll carry on. Unfortunately broke his wrist, and hopefully he maintains the same rate of development. But I think that Ossie's won the World Cup. He's won lots of trophies with Spurs. I can't say past Ossie, he was one of the cleverest footballers I ever played with. There'll be another Glenn Hoddle. Ericsson's a very good player, but Glenn Hoddle was God. I think he's one of, if not, I would put him in probably the top 3 greatest ever Spurs footballers.
Villa or Dembele?
Again, incredibly difficult one. Musa's incredibly powerful, incredibly skillful. I've got to be honest, if I was his manager, I would demand that he scores more goals. I would demand that he creates more goals, because there's so much talent inside of him that he should be delivering more goals and more chances for his team. Ricky Villa scored the best ever FA Cup final goal that I've ever seen. On his day could be untouchable, but if I was going for reliability, as much as I think Ricky Villa was probably more naturally gifted than Musa, I would go for Dembele.
Number 10, Archie or Harry Kane? This for me is the most difficult.
Incredibly difficult one. I have such a love, and I mean a fierce love of homegrown talent, players that have came through the system. I touched on it earlier, learned about the club and its history and its traditions and its principles. Harry has come through that. I think he did incredible. 3 seasons on the spin. To be top goal scorer in the Premier League is an unbelievable achievement. And Steve Archibald, what a player. Great goal scorer, scored goals for fun, but so much more to his game. Harry's still 21, 22. I think that maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, he would maybe rank as one of our all-time greatest, but at the minute I'd go with Steve Archibald. Archibald was sensational player.
And at number 11, Garth or Dele?
Garth or Dele, again slightly unfair comparison, and it's bore out by the fact that Poch only plays one up top. Crooks was an out-and-out centre forward, whereas Dele's a sort of midfielder attacker. Very gifted. Ali plays the game the way the game should be played. If everybody could enter the game with Ali's attitude, It's like he's down the park with his mates. He doesn't give a toss for reputation. He just goes out there and he says, I'm just playing down the park with my mates. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just going to go out and do it. Crooks was a great striker. He had a great relationship with Steve Archibald. They had a chemistry where they combined beautifully together. But I've got to go with Delhi.
Yeah. Okay, tops up his scores.
The press fantastically. I think the way he's transformed our club to be sort of on the outskirts of and fringes of this very good side to where we are, finishing second in the Premier League. I think he's a great development of youth, as Keith Burgajoe was. But ultimately, whenever you decide a manager, his achievements in what he's won must come into the equation. So for that reason alone, I don't think Keith is as good a coach as Poch, but I think that as a manager he achieved more because he won more. So therefore, at this moment in time, and remember he was at Spurs longer than Poch, I go with Keith Burgajoe.
Yeah.
So,
who was the fastest in your peak team?
Who was the fastest?
Yeah, if you had a race, who would
Wow.
be the fastest?
I've got to be honest, if it was over 10 yards, it would probably be me or Ossie or Ardiles. Over that, we were very, very quick. If it was over 100 yards, I would probably say John Shinozi or Chris Hughton. Chris Hughton was very, very quick. Tony Galvin was powerful, but he wasn't quick, sharp, but he was powerful. Archibald over 10 yards was lightning as well.
Round notes?
It wasn't my era really. But you have to remember football is about reactions and how quickly you can move from sort of standing start to quick fade. Glenn Hoddle, for instance, was a very slow runner, but over a yard he was very quick because he dropped his shoulder and he was gone. So that yard he found himself 3 or 4 yards of space. But in terms of probably the quickest player I played with was probably John Shinozi at Spurs. If you were asking me who's the biggest, sorry ladies.
next question.
Mickey, your second spell at Spurs,
Yep.
obviously come back and played under your good friend Ossie.
Yep.
July '94, we signed Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yep.
Have you got any Jurgen Klinsmann stories?
Do you know what? Sometimes things happen and they're sort of planned, but they don't happen. And then totally unexpectedly they happen. For instance, we're on tour in Ireland just after Jurgen come. He had this reputation of being a diver. So obviously we were going to milk it to take the pressure off of him. So we planned, we're playing in this test pre-season friendly. And we've got it planned that if Jurgen scores, we all run to the corner where the fans are and we all dive. The headlines all over the papers, taking the mick out of yourselves really, and bang all this furor surrounding little Jurgen being a diver would disappear. He didn't score. And we got to Sheffield Wednesday on the opening day of the season with not even discussing it, because we discussed it earlier, we never even gave it a thought. And of course, Jurgen scores. So we're all running away, and I'm running up, and I forgot all about the plan of a couple of weeks earlier. Hasn't entered my head. And then all of a sudden, everybody's took off. I've got to say, it was one of the best moments to celebrate someone else scoring. It was just so funny. He'd been pilloried throughout his life for being a diver. And here he was, celebrating a goal by diving on his first game in the English Premier League. I thought it was amazing, and it was, while it wasn't totally off the cuff, on that particular day it wasn't planned. It had been planned a couple of weeks earlier, so for me it was wonderful. You talk about Jurgen Klinsmann. I would say he was one of the best PR men that I ever met in football. He knew exactly how to sell himself, exactly how to make himself be more famous or more wealthy or more anything than he was. I mean, who else would think of driving around in a Beetle, is a Volkswagen Beetle around London town, and the whole of London knows who's in this Beetle, and now he's driving around. He could have drove around in a Mercedes, and nobody would have even known who he was, nobody would have cared who he was, but he chose this light blue Volkswagen, but this, the colour of that jacket there, light blue Volkswagen Beetle, about 50 years old, and you could see him driving in and out of the streets of London, and everybody knew who he was. So he became more and more famous because he drove around in this Beetle. I've tried it, it didn't work.
Can I just ask though, on the Ossie front, what was it like playing under Ossie as a manager?
Under Ossie as a manager, can I say this? I'll probably surprise everyone in this. But do you know what? I spoke with Tad in a Q&A with Teddy Sheringham not long ago, and we were sitting at the table, weren't we, talking, and we were both agreed that football's a grind. You know, when you're young and it's innocent, it's wonderful, but when you are being told what you have to do and what time you have to start, it can become a grind. And some days you wake up and you think, oh, I don't want to go in today because I know I'm going to be doing something that's going to be rigid and boring and dull, and it can sort of get you down. You think, oh, really? In agreement with Terry, we both agreed that every day of Ossie's reign, you woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you were excited. You were excited to drive into training because it was going to be the most wonderful, fun-packed footballing day every day. It was a joy to wake up and go and play under Ossie Ardiles and train with Ossie Ardiles. Steve Perriman used to say, Ossie, he said, should I take the defenders today and do some work with the defenders? Stevie, good idea, Stevie, good idea. How many can I have, Stevie? He said, there's 2. And he used to send 2 players to do defending with Stevie. You know, the rest of us would be staying and doing such creative, instinctive, wonderful, all the things that we all love doing. And when you talk to Ossie, and he says to me, he said, listen, name me the best, just out of interest now, name the best 10 footballers that's ever lived. Now, name one.
Ossie Ardiles, Georgie Best.
Okay, Ossie Ardiles, Georgie Best. Messi,
Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho.
Pele.
Zidane. Ronaldo. Okay, so we've named 7 or 8. Quickly. Off the top of our heads. Georgie Best. We've named 8 off the top of our heads. Not one defender. Not one defender. Ossie's argument is, he said, everything about football, you speak with any fan, and they will always say, I want to watch Pele. I want to watch Messi. I want to watch. You never hear anybody say, oh, I can't wait to get to Spurs to watch Paul Miller. No. They want to go and they want to watch who they excite. He said, I wanted to give the fans what they wanted to see. He said, I gave them Sheringham, I gave them Barnsley, I gave them Anderton, I gave them Klinsmann, I gave them Dermatrescu. I sort of get what he means. I get what he's trying to say is that this game is all about entertainment, it's about exciting the fans, it's about giving them someone to cheer and someone to love and someone to hero worship and someone later in life to be the type of legend that you want him to be. And that was his football. He said, I didn't want to go against my footballing beliefs. My footballing beliefs is I wanted to pick players. I want to build a team. I want to build a team that excites. I want to build a team that creates poetry when they play football. I get it. I get it because that's the way I want the game played. That's the way I want to watch the football that's played. I want to be part of that. I want to be part of watching it. You know, there's times last season, for instance, when I watched Spurs, that I thought we were on a different planet. we were absolutely sensational. Joy to watch. I want to watch that. I don't want to watch dogged, boring, dull, 1-0 wins. That's not Spurs.
Awesome.
That is exactly under George Graham. That's not Spurs. That's not the Spurs way. We are brought up. You know, there's a Spurs way. I'm falling to that way. It's not good enough to win. We have to do it with style. We have to do it with flair. We have to do it with entertainment. That's what Ossie tried to deliver. Unfortunately, within that, there has to be a little bit of organisation too. But I'll blame Stevie Perman. He couldn't fucking organise 2 players to defend. So 9 attack, 2 defend. But no, so
It was alright at Watford.
yeah. But when you sort of listen to his reasoning behind it, it's what I call a beautiful innocence. Maybe a bit of naivety too, but isn't innocence about naivety? In your innocence, you become naive. So Ossie it was such a beautiful philosophy that I would never ever criticise it. I just wish that he added a little bit of defensive, because all these players were great players. They could have all adapted to just, okay, when you lose the ball, you fill in that space, you fill in that space. I'm not asking you to work back and tackle and chase, just fill in spaces. And eventually the opposition will make a mistake. Beautiful, innocent philosophy, touch naive too. Next question.
Yeah, how much?
Scored the goal that puts us in the final. What's going to happen when I walk back? Everybody's wondering where I am, and now I'm coming up the tunnel now, and I'm coming into the view of the fans. Can you imagine the reception from the fans that I got? Sheer accident. Would never have happened. They would have celebrated the goal as I did, and then would have kicked off. But no, I'm off the pitch, I'm coming back on the pitch, I'm coming into view, and there's an eruption of one Micky Hazard. Keith's gone crazy. Keith's gone crazy. I'll have you tip back. But I'm getting this reception. Oh, Micky Hazard. So Keith said, get on, get on. I said, Keith, just take a minute, mate. Have you heard this, Keith? Look, listen, Keith. I just stole the winner, mate. Look. One Micky Hazard echoing all around the stadium. Keith's gone off his rocker, and I'm trying to slow it down. Oh, Keith, let me enjoy it, mate. It was such a moment that is not shared with no one. No one shares it. Nobody could be part of it. It was there incredibly, just totally for me. What? Single. Wow. This truth, I'd have probably been an artist drawing the duel. Yep. I honestly, I'm not a man of many talents. She vouched for that. She often asks me to change the plug or change the light bulb, and I have to get the next door neighbour in to do it. So I don't know how to do it. My next door neighbour came in and changed the electrical socket for us. To do it, he had to sort of smash the wall a little bit. So we got it all back together and got it's unpainted around the socket. She keeps telling me we've got to paint that. But I think it's only been like that for 3.5 years, man. You know? But I genuinely haven't got a clue. In fact, I did do the London Knowledge. That was something that I could do, drive a car. So I did the London Knowledge when I retired from football. I passed it too. But that was just about memory, so.
When you were growing up, who was your football hero?
I'm not grown up yet.
True.
My football hero, I had two. Well, up until the age of 14, I had two. Alan Ball. And again, Alan was a fantastic footballer. He won the World Cup in '66. When I broke through into the Spurs team and I was playing, there was an article in the paper by Alan Ball talking about players that he sees who could make England a great team, and he wrote about me, which was wonderful to have your schoolboy hero writing about you. This was up to, and I used to love his white boots as well. And then my all-time football hero was Johan Cruyff. It's quite surreal that in 1974, when Holland reached the World Cup final against Germany in Germany, and Johan Cruyff was inventing the Johan Cruyff turn. It was the first time it was ever televised in '74. I went out onto the pitch, having watched them do this turn, and didn't stop practicing until I mastered it. And then 10 years later, here I am playing against and meeting Johan Cruyff and actually getting his shirt. I mean, don't let anybody ever tell you that my life hasn't been blessed. You know, my hero Johan Cruyff, and 10 years later I'm getting his shirt, playing on the same pitch as him. I mean, come on. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen, and it happened to me. Yeah, I'm blessed.
Brilliant. Before the days of iPads and iPhones and goodness knows what else, what did you do on the coach to away games?
3-card break. Played cards. Every opportunity. In fact, it got so bad. The card school got so bad that we used to go around people's homes every afternoon after training and play. And Alan Brazil joined. Now Alan's a big gambler. We used to play £5 blind, so we'd go £5 blind, and the person who opened his hand had to go £10. And Alan joined us, and he was a big gambler, and he joined in the card school. And in fact, he was in the end the destroyer of the card school, because Keith ended up stopping us playing anymore, because Alan came into the school and he started to go £80 blind. So that meant that if you had a pair of twos, he didn't know what he had, but you had a pair of twos, it was probably the winning hand, but you had to go £160. So you went £160, and you thought, oh, he'll have a look at his hand and then he'd stack. But he wouldn't, he'd say £80 blind. So you'd go another 160, and then you'd go 80, and you'd go another 160, and 80. You got a poxy pair of twos, and you're thinking, oh God, I just did 2 weeks' wages here. And he'd do it for about 6 or 7, 80 quids. And you'd be putting like £1,000 in this kitty. And you'd be sitting there like thinking, oh God. And he'd open up, and you'd think, please stack. You'd be in tears, please stack, please stack. And he'd go, 160. Every time, without failing, you'd think, oh shit, what do I do now? Do I stack? Or do I see him? Well, it's going to cost me 160 quid to see him. So you'd go, I'll see you, Al. And he'd say, 7-9. And you'd win like £1,000, and you'd think, oh, I'm never getting involved with Alan Brazil again anyway. It got so bad and so big the money that it started to prey on people's minds, and they were losing their full week's money on the way to a game. So Keith put a plot on it.
3 very quick ones to finish. Best player you've played with?
Pretty easy. I would have to say two very different players, 2 geniuses. Ossie Ardiles had the best footballing brain that I've ever seen, ever. Absolute. In there, he was a complete and utter genius. He was 3 steps ahead of the play. No matter who he played against, he was always perfect. He wasn't as gifted. He wasn't even as gifted as I was. But in terms of his football brain, it enabled him to use the gifts he had to the very maximum. Absolute genius. And then Glenn Hoddle. I mean, if there's been in my lifetime, and of everyone that I've seen, if there's been better players than Glenn Hoddle, if there's been a more naturally gifted footballer on this earth than Glenn Hoddle, I ain't seen him. This guy, I don't think I've ever seen anybody own the ball the way this guy owned the ball. He had absolutely everything in his locker. He could do anything with the ball. He was its complete and utter master. I've seen him do things that I've not seen anyone do. I've seen him hit passes I've not seen anyone hit. Probably the nearest thing to him in terms of natural talent would be Messi. Messi's a better player than Glenn, but just behind Glenn in natural talent. Glenn didn't have great running ability or great stamina or great speed, which ultimately didn't allow him to fulfil the talent that he had. But in terms of natural talent, oh wow, this guy was. I mean, I know you are all thinking the same because you all saw him play. The guy was an utter genius.
Yep.
Everyone agree?
Yeah.
Worst player that you played with?
Well, Trevor, I did see you play the other week, and you were rubbish. Worst player? Great question. Great question.
See you next week.
Worst player? Do you know what? When you talk about worst player, it's my belief that you have to be a very, very good footballer to get to the top of any profession. Very good at something. To get to the very top of your profession, you have to be very good. And it's no different for a footballer. I've played with talentless footballers who are actually very good footballers. You know, Ossie tells a story about Tarantini, the left back who used to play for Birmingham, who won the World Cup with Argentina. He said he's the worst player you'll ever see. He said he won the World Cup because he had a great football brain. You cannot get to the top of any profession without being very good at it. But if you say who was the least gifted, probably it's fairer to say that.
Yeah.
The least gifted player in probably in my era anyway at Spurs was probably Paul Miller. The least gifted.
And you hit him.
but that doesn't mean he wasn't a bad player. He was a very good player. He made the best of what he had, and he had the heart the size of a lion. And ultimately, you know, you look at Glenn, and you look at what Glenn had, and then you look at Maxi, and you look at what Maxi had. You know, in terms of talent, you're looking at a 1 out of 10 compared to a 10 out of 10. And yet, when you analyse what they both achieved, the difference is minimal. And that speaks volumes for Maxi and his passion and his desire to succeed and become a very, very good player. And he was a very, very good player. But in that squad, there was a lot of talented players.
And finally, just to wrap up before we do the raffle, would you swap your time in the game to play today?
No. Not one bit.
Money!
No. I touched back on, you know, I talked with a couple of the guys during the break, and I touch on you know, the magic of football. You know, each and every one of us, I presume, everyone in this room worships and idolises as football. And I'm no different to you. You know, it's after you. It's my first, my second, and last love. And there's the word that the reason why I think football is the most incredible sport that's ever been or ever will be is because of the innocence of the game. You know,